What would you do if your own home turned against you? If the walls shook, the air grew cold, and something invisible wanted to hurt your children? This is not a movie. This is the true nightmare of the Enfield Poltergeist. In 1977, the Hodgson family moved into a modest council house in Enfield, North London. For Peggy Hodgson, a single mother of 4, life was already difficult. But one August night, everything changed. It began with strange sounds knocking on the walls of the children's bedroom. At first, Peggy thought the kids were playing tricks. But then the furniture started moving. A heavy chest of drawers slid across the room on its own, blocking the door. When Peggy tried to push it back, it was as if something invisible was pushing against her, keeping it in place. That was the moment she knew this was no prank. As days passed, the activity grew worse. Chairs toppled, toys flew through the air. At night, Janet, only 11 years old, screamed as her bed shook violently beneath her. Her siblings begged to sleep in the same room, but the terror followed them wherever they went. Neighbors soon witnessed the horror themselves, seeing objects move without human touch, hearing loud crashes when no one was inside. Even police officers were called. One officer later swore in a written statement that she saw a chair rise 2 feet off the ground and slide across the floor. But the most chilling part was Janet herself. She began to change. She claimed the voices belonged to an old man named Bill Wilkins, who had died in the house years earlier. During interviews, Janet's voice would transform, deep guttural, nothing like a child's. Even police were unnerved. "This is my house. Get out," the voice said. Other times it would whisper, "Leave or you'll die." Then it would cackle maniacally. The voice continued for months, terrifying all who heard it. Investigators from the Society for Psychical Research stayed in the house for months. They documented hundreds of strange events, levitations, objects thrown, sudden cold winds, and Janet being hurled across the room by invisible hands. In one chilling photo, she is seen suspended in the air, arms and legs outstretched, as if thrown by something unseen. Skeptics argued it was a hoax. They believed Janet faked the voice, or that the children played tricks. But even the most doubtful admitted some events could not be explained. Too many witnesses saw too much. The haunting lasted for over 18 months. By the end, the family was broken. Peggy looked years older. The children were exhausted, traumatized. And though the activity eventually faded, neighbors claimed the house never felt right again. So what really happened at Enfield? Was it a hoax, demonic possession, or something else entirely? The truth may never be known, but one thing is certain: evil doesn't need to hide in graveyards or abandoned asylums. Sometimes it moves into an ordinary family home and refuses to leave. In the case of the Enfield Poltergeist, the story doesn't end with the family's move. After they left, the house was occupied by several families, and each reported strange occurrences. One woman even claimed to see the ghost of Janet in the hallway. Over time, the house became known locally as the haunted house, and rumors persisted that the poltergeist drove one resident insane. But perhaps the scariest part is this: the Enfield poltergeist may have been real, but the story we know today is not. Much of what we believe happened is based on a single investigator's notes, Guy Playfair. He wrote detailed accounts of the haunting, but he was not a neutral party. Playfair was a believer, an investigator, with the Society for Psychical Research. His goal was not to solve the mystery, but to prove a haunting had occurred. Today, experts argue his notes may be inaccurate, even fabricated. They say Playfair may have convinced himself the haunting was real, but the truth is, this we simply don't know. We have no way of knowing if the Enfield poltergeist was a tragic story of demonic possession, a cruel prank, or something in between. But one thing is certain: the power of belief can be a dangerous thing. What we want to believe can become our truth, whether it's real or not. And in the case of the Enfield poltergeist, the truth may have been lost forever. Are you scared yet? Let me tell you one more scary story. Click here to watch another video.